Hello and welcome back to the second part of this demo. On the second part, we're gonna look at the client side, what the client can see and what the client can do. I have already signed in into the requester account, and as you can see, we already can have a minimal window. We have designed this purposely for clients to be as simple as possible, to require less training as possible, and somebody who has a bit of technical skills will be able to progress by himself with minimal um, help. So as we can see here, we have a joiner, a mover, and a lever. Because this client has been re-onboarded on the previous video, we can see already it has 3 runs. This is a feature that we keep in our system. For example, if a client is leaving the business and wants to return at some point for any reason, it can be re-onboarded and it's going to recover its entire uh, history. So let's make a new request. Let's make a new joiner. Let's call him John Doe. You can see some fields are already pre-filled based on the configuration file that I have shown you earlier, the JSON file. We're going to select the date when it's going to start. In the tier 1, in the starter pack, the starting date is just for reference. It doesn't do any automation in the background, so we can set up any date in the future or in the past. Ideally, a client will set up the correct date of the user when it's going to start. Automation is going to run straight away once it gets approved. That's why it is important for the client to set up their own internal system where they're going to execute this in time for the client to benefit from the full features of this platform. In here, we're going to select the departments. So I'm going to select finance. Here we can see the additional access. This is where we set up the capabilities that each department is going to have different. So for example, in the finance, we're going to have difference between business premium and the V5 license. Let's say it's going to have a business premium license. It's going to have finance and HR system. And it's going to have telephony enabled as well. And I'm going to go ahead. In this here, we can add some notes for the approver. Any notes, as you can see, this example is kind of relevant for these notes, and we're going to proceed further. In the final stage, we're going to see a review of what we are about to submit. We check all this information. If we are happy with, we're just going to send it for approval. Now in the runs, we can see that we have a couple of them completed, and this is the last one that hasn't been completed. It's in the pending state. Now I'm going to swap to the approval tab. I'm going to give it a refresh. And now we can see John Doe is a joiner, has been added here. This is the dashboard that an approver account is going to see. And if you look in the queue, it's pending. Is that exactly the same request ID? I'm going to approve this one. And once it is approved, I'm going to log into here and I can see it's running. I'm going to refresh this one more time and I can see this one is completed. That long is taking for an account to be completed, to be executed in the background. Now, if we go back to the requester, we can see in here that account, and very important here, we can see the account that has been created and we can recover the password for that account from this place. The password is randomly generated and it is injected into the account at the moment of creation, and it is a temporary password. So the user, when he's going to receive this password, is going to have to change the password immediately with a different password. That being said, I think now we can have a full view of what has been executed. These are the groups we have assigned earlier. And we can move into the next stage where we're going to make a new request and say that the same user is going to be a mover now. We don't want them to be anymore in the same department, and it's going to be John Doe. Actually, it's kind of easier to do it this way. If I'm going back to my runs, I can see the name in here completely. I'm making a request. I'm going to mover. I want to move this guy from this department into a different department. So let's say he's going to move into engineering. He's going to have a license. He's going to have some tooling and the telephone enabled here. We can add the same notes in here. We're going to send it for approval once we have verified all the data and everything that is correct. And we can submit this one. And now we can see the new run, which has not been executed. It's in a pending state again. And if we swap to if we swap into the approval queue, we can see this one has been changed into a mover, and when on approval queue, it's a pending request. We're going to review entire data that is correct. Nothing has been filled in wrongly. We can reject it here if we want, or we can just approve it again. For the sake of this demo, I'm just going to approve it. We're going to look into the rejection, and then it's completed and it's live. So everything has been executed. That user now has been changed to a different groups. And if we go back in here and we're going to view the runs, we can see it's no longer pending, has been approved, and we can see that has been a change in group. So group remove, group add, group add, group add, group add. So a number of groups has been removed and a number of groups have been added. In here, we can see the ID of those groups. We don't see the names anymore because they are no longer necessary. We can track them back based on the group ID, which I think is a bit more reliable considering that the group names might change in time. Now we're going to make a final request, which is a lever. I think I have saved the work email. Yep. And we're going to remove this account. We're going to say that this guy is going to finish on the day of the 3rd. The reason of leaving is ending the contract. We can have additional notes in here, which I'm not going to fill in at a minute. We can give access to this email to another user once we have a lever. I'm not going to execute this now because the group that I'm going to land this in the staging phase, it doesn't have an email license. Therefore, it's not going to do anything in that group. But for the sake of demo, I'm just going to continue as it is. And I'm going to send it for approval. Now we can see again, this one is the last one, which hasn't been executed. We're going to swap back to the approval tab. And in here, we're going to go into the dashboard. We can see in the dashboard, now it is a lever. And in approval queue, we're going to see him here. We're just going to approve this one. And we're going to just give it a refresh. And now we can see it has been completed. And now we have a lever. So what's going to happen in the lever stage? It is something that we have configured here. So we have a group, which is a staging group. So all the users that are leaving, they're going to be stripped off of every other group. They're going to be dumped into this group. If we have requested that the email to be shared with another user, then in this group, we're going to have a license applied to it. It can be any license that can support an email. It doesn't matter what license type it is. And that's going to be executed. In my case, I don't have any license assigned to this group, so I have skipped that step because it's not going to assign the email to another user. In my case, it simply doesn't make sense for this demo only, and I just dump the user in this group. Once the user is assigned to this group, the last stage of this execution is to disable the account. So the account now should have been disabled. We can check this one if we go back um, into the requester, and we can refresh this page, and we should see here we have removed it from all the other groups, and we have added to the last group, and the account has been successfully disabled. This is a staging group, as I mentioned earlier, and is very important for the businesses, especially for the MSPs, to understand their clients and their life cycle for the joiner mover lever. They can pick up that account from that group after a cooling period, whatever that period might be, a month, 2 months, 3 months, it doesn't really matter. And they can execute automation by completely removing that account, or they can simply just stay there forever. It's entirely up to them. That being said, this concludes the second part of this demo. I will probably create a third part of the demo where I'm going to explain how the architecture works and how the security has been applied to this platform. That one is going to be a bit more technical than just showing how an onboarding and journey mobility process works. Thank you very much for watching.